Okay, I think we are live. Right, welcome all to our regular Tuesday Tat Chat. I'm here with my good friends are here. How's your week been?
Hi Nick, pretty good. Trying to keep busy as much as we can. Been not been
Oh, hang
listening
on.
as much.
Pause the video.
That's right, yeah. Not been listening as much as I'd like, but I mean, we've kind of discussed this on our like live streams where we're kind of we're we don't have enough stock basically to put it any other way. We just don't have enough stock. But apart from that, yeah, things are
Yeah,
good.
it can be a tough time of year to gather enough to keep you going, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think you and Andrea mentioned it. You got asked a question when you were live streaming, and you were kind of like we're like squirrels when the boot fair season's on, just buying and buying as much as you can. I think that's definitely something we need to adopt when the boot fair season starts. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of a case of make hay while the sun shines, or gather as much stock while you can see it and find it.
Yes.
You do end up with being in this situation, so be prepared for
I,
this.
I know, but I think the more I've thought about it, the more I'd rather be in that
Yeah, just
situation.
just
So,
get creative with storage. You know, you've got
yeah,
a lot
exactly.
there, surely.
Yeah, we're looking a bit too neat at the moment. So
Before I dip in the chat and say a few hellos, Tom is coming on with us. Tom and I have had issues with FBA that we're going to rant a bit about later. Tom got the timings wrong and he was in town when I phoned him, so he's rushing back now. He'll probably join us in 10-15 minutes, hopefully. So that's the plan. There's a load of people in the chat. Welcome to the Tat Chat. Let's have a look. We had Twin Red Dragons Brewery, the word I can't say, was first in there. Then we've got Rebecca, Chelsea, Richard Hale, Lewis, Joanne, Andrew, Lonnie's in there. What's he say? Got Nick on the big screen. Oh my word, we're on the big screens here. We've made it.
excellent.
Yeah, hi Lonnie, Lewis, Fin Fashion, Mr. Lumpies. I have a question. How much on average do you spend a year on stock? I couldn't tell you. I honestly, I don't know.
Out. Yeah.
I'd have to dig out some tax returns and work out things, but no, I don't know. Peter's in there. Ashley, Amanda. Hi, Amanda. Lots and lots of people. So welcome aboard. Like I was just saying, the vague plan is to have a good chat with Tom and a catch up and a bit of a rant about FBA. But until Tom joins us, we'll just have a bit of a catch up. If you've got any catch ups, any questions you want us to tackle before Tom comes on board, let us know. Margaret's in there. Hi, Margaret. Kay, Simon. Wow, it's busy.
Yep, loads of people.
David Morse says, evening, guys. Picked up my first sealed board game today at a charity shop. Fleeced Wallace and Gromit game for £7. Okay, not one I've had before. Sounds good. So, Chicago Crown Hustler, first live show I've made. Well, welcome. I'm assuming from your name you're in America. Maybe not. Fantastic. Yep. Right, lots of people saying hello.
Yeah, we've got 81 people already. Steve Maloney, Chelsea, Beck's in there as well. Amanda as well. Phoebe, Fin Fashion, Jane Oldfield. So yeah, hello to everybody. I see Vinny's popped in as well. It just keeps on going. It's so difficult to keep up with the chat.
I've got a question in there. Hang on. What do you do with board games that are not complete? Sell as is or keep for spares? It totally depends on the board game. If you've got a really rare board game that's only missing a handful of tokens or something, it will still keep the majority of its value. You see what I mean? If you've got a £50 board game missing a handful of bits, stick it on at 40, 45 and it will still go. If it's a fairly cheap bog standard board game, nobody's going to buy yours because there'll be loads of complete ones on there. So those I'd either put to one side and wait until I can complete it, or just redonate or something. So it totally depends on the value, I would say. But you can part them out anyway if you've got incomplete ones. It's a lot of work.
Oh, Fabian King is teasing me because he says he's had a Morley's today and he thought of me. I'd kill for a Morley's now. I really would.
Morley's? Is that a chicken?
Morley's, yeah, Morley's was a fried chicken selling, but they seemed. I looked on Google, and they seem to be mostly concentrated around the London area. I don't think they're anywhere else. So, because I think the nearest one's 230 miles away now.
That's a long way to go for fried chicken.
It is, but I think it's it's on the cards because I don't know what I'm going to do. But,
You'll have to come down and visit me. There's a chicken shop in Hitchin.
no, it's got to be Morley's now. I've built it up too much in my head. It's become a thing. Yeah, with board games as well. I mean, I think most of the time, like you said, it doesn't affect things too badly. I think I've sold that Pokemon Master board game before incomplete, and it's still fetched decent money. There are odd occasions where if you're selling like the board game on Amazon, then it pays to. Well, you shouldn't really be selling it if it's not complete anyway. But it then pays to buy whatever missing parts there are. I think I've bought a couple of parts for that Diagon Alley board game because I knew the returns on Amazon were like really good, so it was worth buying a couple of quid worth of bits and pieces.
Yeah, definitely. If you've got a 50, £60 game, spending £2 or £3 on a couple of tokens makes perfect financial sense.
And to be honest, that carries through on a lot of items especially that I'm dealing with. I've bought batteries for things and power supplies. I mean, last year, or was it? I think it was last year. I was picking up steering wheels from boot sales for like £2, and I'd buy the power supply for them. I mean, I actually ended up with like 3 of these steering wheels, and none of them had power supplies. So I took a risk of spending a tenner on a power supply, and I tested all 3 of them, and they all worked fine. And then I sold one for like 50 quid on its own, but then I knew that the other 2 just needed power supplies, and that I wasn't taking a risk anymore. So it was a bit of a risk, but considering the steering wheels themselves cost me like £2, you add the tenner on for the power supply. If you're selling for 50, it's still worth it.
So what were they, Xbox 360s or?
It was actually it was a Logitech steering wheel which worked on PlayStation 3, but it also works on PC. What you'll find is a lot of people that buy steering wheels tend to buy them for PC gaming. They like to play because PC's got like so many racing simulations, because everyone knows games like Gran Turismo, etc. But on PC, there's a lot of PC gamers out there, race sim fans that would say that there's a lot more like comprehensive simulations on PC, and a lot of these guys are into their force feedback steering wheels. And those are the ones.
I was going to say there was one for 360, the official. I think that was the force feedback one, and I used to get them traded in when we had our gaming shop, and I'd stick them online for silly money because they were ridiculously priced new.
Yeah, you want force feedback wheels basically. As long as it's a force feedback wheel, then those are the ones. I mean, you can also tell how good the wheel is. I mean, the ones really to go for are the Logitech ones, and there's quite a few models out there, but they tend to be the ones that sell really well, and people tend to search for those ones. So that's something to keep an eye out.
Definitely. Just having a look in here. Joe's in there. My pack crap meeting is over. Made it for the chat. So hi Joe, welcome aboard. Hi guys, keep up the good work. We watch you every week. Chris, Vic, and Frank. Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. Vinny picked up another hero quest this week. Have 6 now. Oh my god, Vinny, what are you doing? Trying to corner the market? I couldn't sit on 6 of those. I mean, I think, what was it? I got 150 for my last one. Wow, just
150. Wow, that is top end. Was that the one where a lot of the internal bits were still on the sprues, or?
Well, my one.
Yeah. Or
no,
was it
no.
The one that you did a video on? It was just complete.
It was complete. Yeah.
It was just. Was that Amazon or was that eBay?
It was Amazon. I sent it in, priced it high, and it went before Christmas.
150 quid for a board game. That's insane.
I know. But I mean, on eBay, you can turn them over at 100 fairly quickly. I remember Sean had one, and he's probably still got it. He was holding out for 150 on eBay, but it was taking forever, wasn't it? So Hopefully he's flogged that by now. Lonnie says, it's got a question for me. Do you eat Marmite? This is from your chat, isn't it? The Marmite thing.
Yeah, Beck.
Marmite, how would you describe the taste? I do like Marmite. Marmite on toast is godlike, Zahir.
No, Beck loves that. Beck
I would
loves
describe
that
it
stuff.
as very kind of salty.
No, don't even talk about it. It's just gross. The dumb thing is, every time she eats it, I try it. Like,
Yeah.
because I somehow feel like I'm trying it wrong or something. You know, like I feel like, oh, you know, maybe I'm eating it wrong, or maybe I'm just, you know, I'm
Actually one of those things. Lonnie, over here in the UK, we say things are like Marmite. You either love it or you hate it, and it literally divides the nation. So yeah, that's how it is. Thing is, when I was a kid, I wouldn't touch the stuff. I thought it was disgusting, but now, yeah, love it.
I'll tell you what I do like though is, you know, you can get Marmite flavored cheeses and things.
Yeah,
I like cheese with not the crisps are okay, but I like the cheese. I think they do cheese which is like Marmite flavored, and that's nice for some reason. But yeah, legit Marmite, I can't be dealing with that.
Kath has chipped in on the Marmite debate. Says it's impossible to describe the taste. Yeah, it's a bit unique. Sammy asks, what is the rough ratio of unlisted to listed stock for both of us? For me, it's probably 20% listed.
Oh, I wish
might be more now, might be 30.
Bloody hell. That's insane. That's where I'd like to be. We're like almost done. We're always on the 95% mark, I think.
Yeah.
And the bits I have got that I never list are because they're gonna stay unlisted for a while. I mean, it's like a box full of cables and controllers and things like that I just can't. I'm not mentally in the place to be dealing with. I'd rather go out and buy a new cat like I did today. So just...
it might my ratio might not be that extreme actually now, because I do have a fair bit of stock that's technically listed because it's at Amazon. So that's, but I do have a loft full as well. So yeah, going back to buying bits to complete things. I don't know if you pick these up. I always keep in stock. You can get these so cheap on eBay, I think on Amazon as well. They're little Wii remote backs. Because don't you find whenever you get a Wii, the remotes have those crappy charger packs in the back?
Yes.
Which are usually just junk. So I usually bin those and put replacement backs on. They work out really, really cheap if you buy them about 20 or 30 at a time.
Wow.
So I keep stuff like that in stock. And then as soon as it comes in, you can put a new back on it and send it straight to Amazon or stick it on eBay.
That's a fantastic idea, actually. Yeah, because you're right. I think that the last couple of remotes, Wii remotes, I found have always got those horrid, you know, attachments that people buy to recharge.
On the Marmite thread again. You love it or you hate it. No in between for Marmite. Look for Marmite adverts on YouTube.
Tex has joined the chat and she goes, yuck, no, Z, it's not you.
There's plenty of Marmite haters out there.
Good.
Yeah, it's a bit like Vegemite, says Fin Fashion Plus. That's the Aussies version of it, isn't it? That's what they eat.
I think Beck's had Vegemite before. I'm pretty sure she has. I thought it wasn't. I think Vegemite wasn't as bad, actually. Vegemite's milder, I think, than Marmite.
Okay.
I think in flavour, I don't think it's exactly the same. Or maybe it's because we had like a supermarket own brand version. Anyway, I think this is meant to be a reselling chat, not an in-depth debate on the intricacies of different types of yeast.
There's a question. For those that have joined recently, Tom, the English picker, is planning to join us, but he got his timings wrong and he was in town when I phoned him earlier and he's like, oh my God, I'm not going to be back in time. So hopefully soon he'll drop me a text and I'll invite him in, because both Tom and I have had quite serious issues with Amazon cocking things up. So I won't go into that yet. Hopefully, like I say, Tom will arrive and we'll have a rant about Amazon. Just had a question in. UK reseller. Have any of you guys bought an item but thought it was so good you kept it? With that said, do you find it sometimes hard to sell stuff that you find? I'm quite good with this, I'll be honest, these days. In the early days, when I kind of morphed my collecting into buying and selling, I was kind of half collecting and half reselling. So back then it was hard to decide what I was keeping for my own retro collection and what I was selling. And in the end, I just sold the lot and then became a pure reseller. And I don't really collect anymore. Andrea does keep some stuff that she finds, like certain artists, like Orla Keeley. We showed a mug recently. She's into that artist, and Kath Kidston. So she fights with herself sometimes as to whether she keeps it or not. What about you, Z?
Yeah, I don't tend to find that I keep things. I think I do get attached to certain things, and I think I subconsciously keep them by pricing them too high or by not listing them for a while. So,
Yeah.
like, part of the reason it took me so long to sell these steering wheels I had was because I really wanted a steering wheel for playing games with. But in a way, I can't justify it because I don't. When I did have one, because back in the day, I shelled out like 100 odd quid for one, 120 odd quid, and I played racing games for a little bit, but I couldn't really justify owning it. So when I got these, I was kind of like, oh, in the end, I sell stuff, but I do think I have. I'm earlier, obviously, in my journey, so I still, when I find things, I'm still a bit. Should I keep it? It's so cool. But yeah, I think in the end, I end up selling.
Yeah. Unless it's coffee related, and then you tinker with it for a week or two. And then
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to keep that coffee grinder. I really did, but
that
it
was
would
a
have just
nice
been.
flip though. You needed that flip.
I did need the money, yeah, so it would
Right.
have been silly to keep it. But yeah. Okay.
I saw a question. Joanne Oldfield, working now. Oh. Hi, Nick and here. Got a question. When I sold my items, I always seem to get same money I paid and losing money from fees. Oh, and then it said, hi, Nick, it's Jeff. So that might be Jeff, not Joanne. Well, you're either picking up the wrong things or you're selling them too cheap. Something needs to change there because there's no point in selling something for the same money you pick it up. So yeah, just change what you're picking up or reassess your pricing, one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, it can happen if you make a mistake. You might see something. Like I recently bought what did I buy? I bought like a little hi-fi system from a charity shop, and I had a quick look on eBay, and I saw that they were fetching between like 250 to 270 pounds. Upon closer inspection, getting home, I realized that those were hi-fis that were being sold with speakers, with a set of matching speakers for that hi-fi system. So in the end, I ended up accepting an offer of 170. So I still made £70 on top of what I paid. So, and it was within a week it sold. So 100 to 170 is not too bad. I can't complain, but it's a big difference between 170 and 250, for example. So it would have been nicer if it was 100 to 250 pound sale, but it was 100 to 170 pound sale, and that was a split second mistake. Now, luckily, it didn't cost me anything too much there. I don't think. Well, I would say that's the successful sale actually, but it can happen, and
yeah, definitely. And we all will pick up items that we later think we shouldn't have bothered, or we looked them up in haste and didn't quite get the right information, and then you sell it on for what you paid sometimes, and there's no shame in that. I was just saying, if that's a regular occurrence, then you perhaps need to be a bit more careful what you're picking up.
Yeah.
Someone's Lewis have been barred off eBay for 7 days for selling a counterfeit clothing item. This ever happened to any of you? Also, is there a way to check the authenticity of clothing, like a website? I've not had an eBay ban personally. I know people that have. And I know people that have. Caroline had a ban for something that was 100% genuine. She bought it herself, I think, from the store. I think Caroline's in the chat, so confirm that if you're in there. As for authenticating things, there's a Facebook page, isn't there? Real or fake for eBay sellers. And I would imagine there's other sites you could Google. So yeah, worth putting in the. What do you do for your clothing? Do you check stuff, some high-end stuff here?
Well, we don't really find masses of like what you'd call high end. Um, I think there's certain brands that we're just wary of, I suppose. I mean, we check clothes ourselves, using just with basic, tools that are available to everyone. So, I mean, even on eBay itself, a lot of people have written a lot of, those kind of posts that people can write. About how to check for something. Whether I don't know what they're called, but eBay has this feature where someone can write like a review or some kind of a resource. So if you Google spotting fake Levi's, some eBay seller at some point has written like a full essay on how to spot differences in Levi's and things. So we use resources like that. But the main thing is we don't tend to pick up many brands that I think are like are known for being counterfeit. So, I mean, obviously things like Levi's fake, Nikes, they're like heavily counterfeit, so you've got to be careful. But I think it's quite easy sometimes to tell because even though the difference might be very slight, it can be glaring if you know what I mean. Like I picked up this most immaculate pair of Nike Airs when I was down south, and the only reason I kind of knew they were fake was because of how easily the information label just peeled off the tongue. Every other part of the shoe, I mean, it kind of made me laugh that they'd gone through so much effort because every other part of the shoe I would struggle. I mean, I actually compared these shoes to a pair of legit Nikes that I had bought for myself from like a shop, everything. So I knew they were the real deal. And then I had this pair of Nike Airs, which in every other way matched up to the real deal. But then the sodding label peeled off the tongue, and it was just like, and it was the spacing was ever so iffy on the way it was printed, and it was such a silly thing for the counterfeiters to have messed up on, really, because other
It's
than
a minefield, though. It really
oh,
is, and you can get in trouble
yeah,
on eBay.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's what kind of puts me off buying those types of items. Sometimes like if you see Dolce and Gabbana or um any other brand like that, Louis Vuitton and stuff, I just kind of automatically think, just stay away,
Yeah,
really,
same
stay away.
here. Yeah,
The only exception I've got to that are the subtle designs, and because I find that the counterfeited stuff tends to be the stuff which is the most garish and horrible example of the designer's clothes, or shoes or whatever they are. I once actually got a pair of Louis Vuitton boots ages ago, in a job lot of shoes from auction. And at first, I didn't realize they were Louis Vuittons. I thought they were just a quality pair of shoes because of the way they were put together. And it was only when I looked closely and I saw that the Louis Vuitton brand was like subtly embossed on the side, and then you could see the label and the tag and everything. And then I matched it up to what these shoes would have been. I searched high and low to make sure I had something here, and I matched all the codes and the dates up to make sure someone had talked about them, and it turns out that these would have originally been like $1,500 boots.
wow.
um, and they were insane. I mean, I think I ended up selling them to Germany for about 200 quid, and that was like, yeah, I was well happy with that. But you have to be you have to do your research when it comes to that. You have to be satisfied yourself. If you've got any doubt, then as hard as it can be, just don't do it.
Yeah,
That's what I'd say.
it's difficult. It really is, and the fakers are so good on some things these days. That's the real problem. You can't tell at a glance on a lot of things. Things like, because I've been selling Lego for years, I can spot a fake Lego because Lego is faked quite a lot. I can spot that a mile off, but
Yeah.
clothing, no, not my thing. Talking of Lego, I've been sorting out hundreds and hundreds of roof tiles today.
Wow.
And fencing parts and all of that. It was a bit tedious.
Sounds riveting.
Riveting stuff.
Um,
I've got a question again. I saw one. Carp fishing adventures. Question. Nick's old shop, you said it changed your life at the time. What was your turnover profit? At its peak, the turnover, it was doing about 250,000 a year at its peak. Yeah, profit wise is between me and the tax man. So yeah, but that set us up for life. i.e. with the house, etc. So yeah, set us up good and proper. Lonnie says, I have to order remote backs all the time. Lots of Xbox 360 battery backs. Yeah, absolutely. And these, going back to those, these aren't genuine Nintendo ones, but it doesn't seem to make any difference. They're really decent quality ones, and I've never had a problem. Best board game. This is RTCH one day. Best board game for me was War on Terror. Got £60 for that. Don't think that's one I've seen before either. I just had a text from Tom. Let's see. All right, he's home. So I'll try and send an invite to him. See if we can get him on board.
By the way, guys, I want to give a little shout out to Ads' new video he did with his birthday. I don't know if you've seen it, Nick.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, the best intro ever, right? I mean, I've got to say that is the best intro
I laughed
ever.
out loud.
I thought,
like, what
fantastic. And his mum's such a good sport as well for doing it as well. Like the strutting slow-mo walk. I just had to put that out there. That was fantastic.
I thought his choice of music was interesting.
Yes, some of the music was.
I'll leave it there. Okay, I've dropped a link to Tom, so we shall see what happens and if he appears. We all know that Tom is Mr. Tech. We'll see how smoothly this goes. Okay.
Yeah, quite a few comments coming in from Rebecca Sees and David Morse and Smart Reselling as well. Daz and Fin Fashion Phoebe. They're all loving Ads' video. It was awesome. It was brilliant. Adam Butterworth said not sure about the music on his video though. He agrees there.
And I was chatting to a few people as well, saying that on my 21st, going out with my mum shopping was the last thing on my mind. Fair play to Ads, and you know, I love him for doing it, but I was on a pub crawl, not a charity shop crawl. But that's just me. I had a horrific accident actually on my 21st. I was walking up the high street of the town I was at art college in with a girl, giving a girl a piggyback, as you do, and I managed to trip up the curb, getting back onto the pavement. And the full weight of her smashed my face into the pavement, and I cut all of my face up, and it was horrific. We just carried on going out. I went to another 5 or 6 pubs with blood pouring out the side of my head.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got photos somewhere. I'll have to dig them out. So yeah, we should be joined by Tom. Let's see if he's. I'll text him back.
So look. Amanda says I'm at risk of resellers back from the big rucksack on my back. Even had a charity shop lady today advise me to take it easy. Oh yeah, you got to be careful. I've got to say, this is something I talked to Rebecca about. Just I think it was yesterday or the day before. I can't remember now. But we've got like a little portable heater thing, and I just picked it up without bending, and it's not even heavy, and I twitched like the side, like just underneath my shoulder blade, and I really hurt myself, but luckily I can just kind of go through it. But I was thinking, when you're at work in a job, you've got signs everywhere telling you to lift correctly and safety and health and safety. And when you're working for yourself, you don't really put health and safety signs up around or remind yourself of it. And I think Amanda's comment there is another example of how you've got to really be careful and look after yourself, because as we all know, you know, if you kind of hurt yourself, put yourself out, I mean, if God forbid, if me or Beck were to get hurt right now, we'd be in a lot of trouble. You know, we're winging it, so we've got to make sure that
so important when you're self-employed.
Oh, completely.
I twitch my back a lot, and I think it's because I spend a hell of a lot of time sat right here like this. So I'm, you know, and then I go to pick up the bags to go to the post office or whatever, and suddenly I'm picking up 15-kilo bags or something, and I've been sat still all day, not limbering
up. That's what it takes, exactly. You know, if you're bending your back when you're taking photos, when you're like leaning over or packaging, these are all things that like I didn't really think of before, but I'm definitely going to keep an eye on, because I think it's so easy to damage yourself, and then it can affect you quite badly.
Yeah, I did just see
Yeah,
Tom pop up. Tom's little icon appeared and then went away.
yeah.
I think it's the usual Tom Tech Gremlin. So we'll carry on for a bit and see if he joins us. I've got to give a shout out to Jeff. So hi Jeff, thanks for popping in.
Graham Nichols says, anyone see ads is do 50 charity shops in a day video. Yeah, we've been talking about it, Graham, in the chat. It's already a cult classic, I feel. Just the intro alone is just amazing. Yeah, Tom's actually messaged that he's joining now. And yeah, and Darren says,
icon, but he's muted and I can't see him.
Sure
Lonnie has a good idea. We were talking about, do you end up keeping cool stuff, or struggle to sell on things you find? And Lonnie says he finds that keeping photos and videos of the cool stuff is enough for him. So you can kind of keep a record of the things you picked up over the years. It's quite a cool idea, actually. You could keep a little file on your computer of all the really nice sales you've had over the years, the really nice items.
Yeah. I think I know Bonafide Hustler does something similar like that as well. I've seen when he's been doing his sales videos, he can pull out photos from like a year or two back. But yeah, that would be quite good, like a brag book or something, a scrapbook.
Bob Smith has done
here we go.
£150,000 worth of sales since he started in 2014. Hey Tom, how are you?
Hello, Tom.
The tech gremlins again.
Yeah.
Tech gremlins.
Not been feeding those gerbils, have you, Tom?
No, definitely not. I've been too busy ranting at the wall about. Excuse my language.
Yes,
sorry, if there's anyone with a sensitive ear, you're probably best going about this point, because I'm going to drop some F-bombs.
Tom may be in full rant mode. I did allude to the fact that we were going to talk about some issues we've had with Amazon. So do you want to go first, or shall I explain what happened to me first?
You go for it.
Okay. Well, about just after the start of January, I sent a couple of big boxes to FBA. It was mostly retail arbitrage stock, loads and loads of Nerf guns, a load of PS4 stock, and all sorts of other random gear. 2 big boxes went up. 2 weeks later, it had been received at the Manchester warehouse, but hadn't been booked in. And I rang up and they said, oh, you've got to wait 2 weeks from the date it was supposedly received. So I waited another X amount of days, rang back and said, look, you still haven't checked it in. It's been sat in your warehouse for 2 weeks. UPS have got signed for delivery proof, blah, blah, blah. They said, okay, wait another 48 hours and we'll sort it out for you. Waited 48 hours. They said, no, it's been lost. And then after that, they reimbursed me for all of the stock that they had lost. Now, how the hell you lose 2 boxes this size that weigh nigh on 15 kilos, beyond me. Anyway, they paid me out, and I wrote it down. They paid out £652.79, which wasn't terrible, but it wasn't what I would have got if I'd have sold it all at the prices it was selling for back at the beginning of January. But that's the payout I got, and I thought, okay, fair enough, take it and move on. Today, I get an email saying they've found the stuff. Can I have the money back? That's Amazon basically asking for this £652 back, because they've now found the stuff and they want to sell it for me. So that was my experience. And Tom, you had a very similar one.
Yeah, very similar. I sent mine in slightly earlier, so mine was sort of before Christmas, so it would have gone live it probably would have missed the Christmas rush, but I would have got all the gift cards, all that sort of stuff. Everyone was out of stock of stuff, and I sent 2 giant boxes of. I wouldn't have minded it if it was books or something, but it wasn't. It was like RA. It was stuff that I proper paid up for, and it was games mostly, which you turn your back and they devalue. So yeah, 2 giant boxes, and they refunded me £853 and 6p, going through the Amazon seller app and working out what I would have got if I'd sold it for those prices, it would have been £1,221.95. So that's just under 370 quid difference. I was pretty pissed at that point because, you know, they paid me what was sort of a several weeks later price. So I thought, okay, I'm not going to argue it. I'm just going to move on. And then miraculously, they found this stuff, and the stuff's devalued even further. So fucking shafted, really. And they didn't even provide any lube either. You know, I'm just hunting dry. You know, no messing about. It's just brutal.
Tom's been dry humped by Amazon. But yeah, I'm in a similar boat. That when I sent up the Nerf stock, Amazon was still out of stock from Christmas. They hadn't replenished, and I sent them in as quick as I could to get there before Amazon restocked. And some did get booked in weirdly, and they sold out within a day at between £20 and £25. Now they found another 18 of these big Nerf guns. Then Amazon has them in stock and are selling them at £15. So to try and shift them now, I've got to undercut that and lose that big chunk. Likewise, I had some Assassin's Creed Unities on PS4. Amazon had sold out. Very few sellers had any left just after Christmas. I sent them in and I would have been the cheapest at £27. Now I'm lucky to get 14 because time has moved on. Amazon has it in stock. Loads of other people have got it in stock. Ubisoft has probably printed another million of them. You see what I mean? So yeah, we have both lost out big time, but whether we're going to be able to contest it, whether they're going to give a damn. Somebody just said in the chat, did you ask them to just send all the stock back? Thing is, we're still in the same boat then. We've still got to sell it on in the same market somewhere else.
Yeah.
And they're charging
us to
get it back.
It's not like we can take it back to the places now that we bought it from in the first place, because it's past that point anyway. It was designed to hit that prime Christmas market. And I wouldn't have minded if it was books that I've got nothing into, but it just so happened that it was pricey stuff. And I honestly thought maybe it had gone missing because a couple of the guys at the warehouse had got a bit of a side gig. Maybe they were in and then selling them off somehow. Yeah.
I really thought that it had been nicked, like there was a dodgy courier guy or someone in the warehouse slipping it out the back door, because it didn't make sense that they could just misplace these massive boxes for that long. Yeah. But there you go. I mean, I was talking to Zahir earlier, wasn't I, about you had an issue with Amazon, but you did quite well out of yours because they refunded you and you got the stock back and stuff. So it can work in your favor.
Yeah, I mean, I did have to sell it on for a lot less because the way I got it back was atrocious. I mean, considering how Amazon can penalize you for sending in new stock, which doesn't turn up as new, I sent it to them like perfectly packaged, so it got to them in one piece. When I got it back on a pallet which was wrapped in black cling film, and everything inside got bashed to bits. It was shocking that they thought that was okay to send back stock like that. I've got to say that it's listening to you guys as well. I mean, I think it's the scale of the business that sometimes you have to appreciate. It always reminds me of that scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark where they put the crate back in the corner, right at the end of the movie, when the guy's got the warehouse and he's like, it takes it back in. It reminds me of that. The scale is huge, and you've got to be able to financially be prepared to take the hits that you guys have taken. Because personally, in my situation, I think when I hear these stories, it does scare me, because I don't think I'm financially in a place where I could handle that kind of a hit, especially when you're talking about retail arbitrage stock as opposed to just stuff that you found in charity shops or boot fairs that is saleable on Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, we spent. I did make a video about it, but it didn't come out right, so I haven't actually uploaded it. But we reinvested in the January sales approximately £1,000 of what we made in December, and a lot of that went up in these shipments. Some of the other shipments got booked in, and it's already up there. but it was just a way of reinvesting some profit and getting an extra bit on top. But yeah, it sucks. It really sucks because, like Tom was saying, although we will now be able to sell this stock on, we're going to get vastly reduced numbers for it. And I'm going to argue my case, and I think Tom is as well, with Amazon, but I can't see them giving a damn. You know what I mean? We're small fries.
Yeah.
What's your plan, Tom?
I mean,
going to contest it?
There's going to be a couple of things that I'll be lucky to break even. Some things I'll make a small profit. But there's some stuff that I would, like some of the Xbox One games that I was going to sell for $34.85, and Amazon have got it in stock now for $17.99. So I mean, and I think I paid about 15 quid for it. So
yeah, you'll
just
lose money.
unbelievable. It's a decision made by a computer, not an actual human being, or maybe it is a human being, but they've been trained to act like a computer, perhaps, and not
think
think.
It is
Wait
a program. I think in one of the emails they said you've been reimbursed based on some system that where they judge. Yeah. I think it's all pre-programmed. They wouldn't have time to pay someone to work all these numbers out. I guarantee it's just put through an algorithm based on what it's for now, which is the problem.
I'm pretty sure Fake Rachel has mentioned that she's had success by calling them and arguing the case, and they seem pretty. In her experience, they've been pretty good to reevaluate what they've offered you, because, like you said, I suppose this initial decision is just to see whether you'll accept it and go away. But if you're determined, you can just give them a call, and you probably will get another offer.
Yeah, I think Rachel was talking about more when they lose or damage one item, and
is it just single items?
Yeah, I've had that before where they've reimbursed me a seemingly random figure for something they've damaged in the warehouse, and you can ring up and contest that. I think that's what Rachel was talking about. Whether they will enter into discussions on this amount of stock and these numbers, I don't know. I haven't even been through mine and worked out how much less, I'm likely to get now. I know the figure they offered me or gave me was considerably under what I was going to get in the first place.
Yeah, it's depressing. But I wanted to do it, so I'd got. Thankfully, it wasn't like a 200 item shipment. It was 46 items. So, it's one of those things. But hey ho.
Where did you find, out of interest, where are the numbers that you initially sent up? Is that still on your FBA?
Yeah,
order?
I hadn't adjusted the prices at the point in which they initially paid me out. I hadn't adjusted the prices at all, so I'd still got the prices. So, because it doesn't keep a record of prices, so now that I've changed them, do you see what I mean? The old price that I was going to ask is gone. There's no record of it. So it's a bit hard to argue your case when priced, so I can, now they're in stock, I can sell them.
Yeah,
so,
I think in my inventory, because I hadn't been booked in, it wasn't showing any prices or something. Anyway, I'll have to look at that. But I've adjusted mine now to try and shift them anyway, like you said.
Yeah.
But yeah, nightmare. So
there was one item that they completely lost, and one that just got absolutely smashed to bits. So I will hopefully get reimbursed on them, but it's going to have to be a case of just tax deductible and then just move on, really.
Yeah, and in the payout, when this part of this £652 they randomly decided they owed me for losing it all, £100 plus, just over £100 was for one DVD box set, which was just so random. I think I said to you, Tom, last night, I sent it in at £60. Yeah. It does have a fair bit of value, but I thought I was pushing my luck at 60. They randomly paid me out £100, and now they want that back.
Yeah, it's really weird. They did that with me as well. I was selling something for $24.99, and they've paid me $32.99 for it. And that's after their fees. So, 32 and some change. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers.
So yeah, that's what's been going on with Amazon recently. Apart from that, how have you been? Been a while since we've had you on.
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah, I've completely. I've been, frittering around trying to buy stuff off Facebook, and which I've never seemed to have a deal off Facebook until recently. So that's worked out well. That was like a job lot of handheld consoles for 230 quid, but there's like Game Boys and looking around Game Boys and like PSPs and stuff like that. So loads of stuff. So I don't know where the guy gets it from, but
I know you, Tom.
Yeah,
How many of these are you keeping?
it's yet to be decided. So
We were talking about that
long-term investment,
about how hard it is for some people to let go of the stuff. I know you have a really good gaming collection, so that can be
yeah. It's been thinned out, definitely. I've been forced due to space requirements to get rid of some of the stuff that just I don't need. But yeah, the handheld stuff is definitely a weakness of mine. But yeah, so yeah, that's about it really. And then I'm just talking about Amazon again, getting prepped for the big was it February the 14th, the long-term storage fees, all that business.
Yeah, they decided to kick us with that on Valentine's Day. How nice.
Yeah.
So what are your plans moving forward then? Have you had to reassess much, or what are your thoughts on the yearly and the monthly?
My thoughts were very different until, the thing that I've just received. So it may change, but pretty much it was going to be based on whether there was going to be free removals, and it's looking likely that there aren't going to be these free removals like we've had before. So I did think, maybe free, get some stuff free. So what I'm going to do, the big and bulky stuff, I'm just going to get removed. I'm hanging on there. I'm not slashing prices at all. I maybe tweaked a few prices. I'm not getting involved in that race to the bottom. And the big and bulky stuff, anything I've only got 4 oversized items, so I'm getting them returned. But it's not easy to work out which ones they are, really. There's no quick way of doing that. So I'm getting them returned. Then any big or that kind of stuff, that's all coming back. But actually, that email I had with your fees are going to be this, was 280 quid. That my fees were going to be, which actually didn't seem that bad, really.
No, I thought yours would be colossal because you've got, what numbers have you got up there?
Also, I'll have a quick look, but
many thousands.
I was honestly expecting it to be a couple of grand, but unless it's another one of their wonderful miscalculations, I'm not sure. So I don't want to jinx it if so.
Or maybe a lot of your stock hasn't been up there over the year. Is that maybe it? But the next assessment, you'll be kicked for a lot more.
Yeah, a lot of it's books, though. Books that I sent up in 2015. So I don't get, but it was books that I was happy to sit there because there was only one of each one there. So in my mind, it didn't seem an issue. So like I said, maybe I'm going to get, proper done over. Let me just have a quick look.
So we're not selling at Amazon FBA to you much to hear today, are we?
Pardon?
Sounds here we're not really selling it. The joys of FBA to you today.
Well, I think
your headset's gone all Dalek-like.
Oh, has it?
Yeah. I'll just dip in the chat quickly. I can see Darren's in there. Hi, Darren. Silver Pirate.
Is it better now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that, to be fair, these risks have always been there, haven't they? I think the risks of selling on Amazon, FBA especially, and it's more FBA rather than merchant fulfilled, isn't it? These things are involved with it. Merchant fulfilled is like as it was, right? Yep. These things have always been there. I think it's just that when it happens, it's obviously quite a big change. For example, what Tom, what you're facing in terms of having to bring so much stuff back. It's a huge unwanted change. But it's just a reminder that this can happen. And the thing is, it's not just about Amazon. Something equally as destructive could easily happen on eBay. What if your whole eBay business revolves around wholesale, and suddenly there's an intellectual, yeah, it's okay, and suddenly there could be like an intellectual property right thing where you can't sell those kinds of items anymore. You'd be in equal amount of trouble, wouldn't you? So I think it's more of a reminder of us playing in on someone else's platform, and to always be kind of prepared, or at least just aware of it, really, isn't it, Tom?
Definitely. I think it's also another sort of reason why you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket, which I kind of have in a way. I mean, I've got a small eBay presence, but I mean, it's not nearly enough to pay my mortgage or anything like that. So really, you need backup plans and all stuff like that, because if I had to get everything returned from Amazon, I mean, oh my God, let alone where on earth I'd put it all. A clue.
Well, I mean, that would be crazy, wouldn't it? I mean, the other side of it is as well that I think I was watching who's that guy, Mike Voodoo,
Oh yeah,
Six Face on
Global Voodoo,
he made a video recently where he talked about how he also sells a lot locally as well. So it's just another reason to kind of have as many different ways of selling your stuff. I mean, whether that be putting up Facebook ads and have people come around your house to buy stuff, or whether that be going to a boot sale or something like that, or antique, those places where you concession stands where you can have your stuff. I mean, it's just different ways. But
bottom line, the way I see Amazon is, at the end of the day, it has its perks and its benefits, but it is their site, and you can't forget that. And the rules will change, and the rules will change again, and it's never, you can never take it for granted. I mean, I do well out of Amazon. I've only been doing FBA, I don't know, pushing 2 years.
Yeah.
But it's changed a lot since, in the short time I've started doing it. So yeah,
I've got 4,964 items currently. And
is that all?
So so just me. But since I've started, probably the highest I've got is about 6,500. But you've got to always bear that in like you said, in the back of your mind, that what happens if, like, for example, it was last year Sony products randomly got gated, so you couldn't sell anything made by Sony. And then it happened again with Microsoft stuff. You could sell it new, but you couldn't sell it used, and just with no warning overnight. So I mean, God, it could have been awful if you'd really on, say,
spend a lot on a deal. Yeah.
Microsoft mouses or something. You bought hundreds of units, and then overnight your stuff's frozen. So over worrying, it does make me think about RA particularly differently. Do I go all in on one thing and lots of, or do I spread my risk with small deals here and there if I'm going to go with?
Yeah, but by the same token, I've always been a proponent of, you can't really worry about all the things that might go wrong. So whilst it is worth thinking about and worth having it in the back of your mind, I can't operate in a world of this might happen, because I wouldn't get out of bed. You know what I mean? As a business owner, you have to be positive. You have to say, I'm going here and I'm going to get there no matter what. And you can't, I don't know, you can't operate in a world where you're worried about all the things that are going to go wrong, because you won't get anywhere. So that's the other side of it.
Wouldn't you say now would be a good time to look into getting into the gated categories, where there's less competition, where it might take you a bit of effort to do that, but that's really where you want to be now, because automatically you're in a place where other people aren't. I mean, the whole reason I had to call back these, I keep on talking about these sodding things all the time, but these Star Wars plushes was because they, again, on a whim, decided that only certain people could sell them. So suddenly the listing dwindled from tons of FBA offerings of this Star Wars toy to like 3. And you want to be in that 3, really, don't you? So
now, speaking from personal experience, it's not easy. When the Microsoft ban hit, I fought like mad to get Ungated. I tried everything, because I've got contacts in the industry, and what they needed was from Microsoft saying, I allow this person at this address to sell our products. And Microsoft, they don't give a toss. So, they're not going to do that. So that was out the window. I'm sure even a signed Bill Gates letter wouldn't have been good enough. So what they wanted is 3 invoices with like 30 items and like 5 or 6 different products, and they all new from different suppliers, reputable ones that couldn't have an online presence. They could, if they had to be a bricks and mortars wholesaler, but site where they sold stuff, because then they were deemed as an online seller. And then you had to have an invoice with their name and address on, your name and address on. Basically, what they wanted didn't exist. It's like saying go to the hardware store and get a tin of striped paint. So I sent invoice after invoice after invoice, and it was always, no, this doesn't move. And then when I got an invoice that matched, all of a sudden they created another parameter which they hadn't previously mentioned. Piss take, basically. Very anti-Amazon tonight, but they.
No, that's cool. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm a bit ranty.
I think they've really tightened up on the whole ungating thing. I remember a while back you could speak to certain people and they'd get you in. I think all of that's out the window now. I don't know, but I'm not ungated in any categories. The irony is, when we had the blooming gaming shop, I had accounts with Microsoft, Sony, blah blah blah, or all of their main distributors and wholesalers. So back then I probably could have got in fairly easily to all these little places, but I was only doing used stuff. The majority, I was selling some new stuff on there, but it wasn't an issue. It certainly wasn't an issue to sell Sony and Microsoft back then new. So I never bothered. And then when we closed the shop down, I closed my accounts because I didn't think I needed them, which now it would have been handy to keep them open.
I mean, it's the thing though. If it's the people that are going to be gated, that are in the gated categories now, that are going to be really making, I think, progress with FBA in the long run, because it's clear that this is where the way it's moving, isn't it? I mean, brands are protective of their products. They're becoming more and more protective of their products. They want to know that when a customer finally gets a hold of one of their products, it's going to provide the experience that they've spent their millions and millions of pounds on marketing their product to match. Now, if they end up buying from an FBA seller that's bought like something from clearance on the Toys R Us aisle where the packaging's all damaged or manky and sent it in as FBA, that's the kind of thing that's probably caused this. I mean, I remember, Tom, you made a video, like one of your famous rant videos a while back, about FBA not being the kind of land of milk and honey that I think sometimes it's been portrayed to be. And I think people do fall foul of things like that. I mean, some of the FBA listings you can see are they're horrific, aren't they? I mean,
they're awful. There's one for a Wii, I think it's a Wii console, but it's just a console on its own or something like that. And it's like a Wii on someone's carpet with like a date stamp in the corner with like loads of random cables. It's awful. And I have messaged people, and also sometimes it can change on you midway through. I was selling like this obscure gaming, it's like a gaming grip for a 3DS, and randomly out of nowhere actually changed to Home Pride baking flour. And a picture of Home Pride baking flour came up, and message, you're not approved in
in
grocery,
baking.
you can't sell this. It's like, imagine if someone ordered some flour and they got turned up with this grip thing for a 3DS. They'd be like, what?
How am I going to make a cake
And
out of this? I mean, you know, it's
It's like there's a listing for a DVD that I've now got loads of, and I've sent some up to Amazon. And one of the main picture when you go into the product is it's on an angle, it's out of focus, you can barely read it. It's like if a 3-year-old grabbed your phone and took a picture. And I've messaged them. I've said this picture's awful. I've given them alternatives and this, that, and the other. And it's been the same for like a month or a month and a half now. And there's loads of examples. There's some great board game ones where people have written the listing themselves and they put it on the floor in the darkened room. You know what I mean? The box is battered to shit. And you've got to sell your product alongside that image. But then what I do, with that, obviously, I'd send my own pictures in. So you've got this lead picture, which looks like, someone's bought it in a cave and took a picture in a cave. And then there's your picture, all laid out, lovely lit with all the bits. It's like, sort it out. Use my picture. I don't care.
Yeah. I don't tend to... I was just going to say, I don't tend to put pictures on my listings just for time. But when it's something like that, definitely, you've got to... the other thing I was going to say about the gated things is 2 things. I know a lot of people we know are very worried that Lego's going to get gated, particularly, and maybe Nintendo. So that's something as well that's, perhaps thinking into the future now, trying to get ahead of yourself, because you've only got to look across the pond to America to see. I mean, on FBA there, DVDs is gated, which, I mean, flipping out, that's crazy. There's something else really big that's gated, and you're like, see, Logitech, Xbox, loads of stuff. So, like you said, it's
the big companies essentially talking to each other and saying, look, if you want to sell my products, I want me to be the person selling. But to be quite frank, let's say Lego have a discussion with Amazon and say, right, enough's enough. Only I'm going to sell my product, or these few suppliers that I'm happy are genuine suppliers that I as Lego supply. You've then just, all of the resellers will just go on eBay. And I can't see eBay cutting their own throat and stopping us doing it. So
no, eBay will be rubbing their hands, just saying, come here, yeah, great.
You just move on and you adapt. Plus, if Lego becomes, let's say, for example, Lego becomes gated, the prices will, they'll go up initially, and then when they sell out or it's discontinued, they just won't have any. So it's fine. It leaves the market wide open for us all to be on eBay, setting the price wherever we like. It's just a case of adapting and moving on. So.
Someone's just asked in the chat, what's gated? Gated just basically means it's an area in Amazon that you're restricted from selling. So if something's gated off from you, you can't sell in there.
I mean, there are examples of that on eBay as well, though. I mean, yeah, it's not prevalent. Of course, it's not prevalent, but I mean, you should never, like you said, you should never have all your eggs in one basket. But there are examples of items that you can't sell on eBay. Or you're not meant to sell on eBay. So I think things that pop into my head are the Rosetta Stone language series, those fitness, those fitness things. Yeah, that's it. That gets taken down. So
human kidneys, you can't sell them either.
You can't sell what?
Apparently, human kidneys, you can't sell them on eBay. Kidneys,
apparently. Yeah, you can't. There is a list of items.
I mean, why?
Tried many times. Yeah, so I see what you're saying. So the potential is there for these companies to do that on eBay, but
it's not likely. But I think the idea is just that be prepared to adapt. I think that's the main thing, isn't it? But like you said, Nick, I think eBay would be daft, and it's got to go some. But the thing is, there's always going to be a place to go. If Lego, for example, because Lego is one of the most talked about subjects, if it did in a very unlikely event get gated or restricted on eBay, you've still then got sites such as Bricklink and whatnot, where everyone would end up, right? So Brickowl, Bricklink, and not to mention, people will still be able to always sell locally and on the Spocks of the world, the Gumtrees, the Facebook pages, and list is pretty endless.
Exactly. and it's impossible to actually stop people buying something and then selling it on, because once you bought it, it's your property, and you will find if you want to sell it on, you'll find somewhere to sell it on, and that's essentially all we're doing.
Yeah, it's important not to get doom and gloom, I suppose.
That was the Mickey take with the Microsoft thing, and it harks back, not to go over it too much, but harks back to when they came out with the Xbox One, that they said, oh, allowing you to Xbox One games. But with the Microsoft ban, that covered it all the way back to like MS-DOS, you know, stuff that was made in the 80s. There's older than me that was saying, no, we're not letting you sell it because it's
ridiculous. Yeah,
mistake.
It is ridiculous.
Let me have a look in chat, see if we've got any questions that we'll touch on. It's already 10 past 7, so we won't hang around too long.
I won't rant anymore, I promise. But the dickhead of the week this week is not Microsoft, Amazon, definitely. But I'll sit on my hands and not rant anymore.
That's fine. That's fine. I'd have to agree. They have wound me up. It's funny. I was chatting to Tom on Messenger last night saying, Tom, my stock has appeared in my inventory, yet they've given me all the money back. And we were like going, maybe they won't notice. And then this morning the email comes through, we found your stock. It's like, damn you. So yeah, they're definitely my dickheads of the week. I mean, how? Yeah, enough. I'm not talking about it anymore. Girly Heaven says life is all about taking chances. Exactly, and you have to put yourself out there. There's an element of risk in everything we do, buying and selling. So yeah, if you're not comfortable with taking risks, perhaps this isn't for you, I would say. Selling on Amazon and eBay, a bit of an adventure really, because you don't know what is around the corner, says UK Reseller. Exactly. Yeah, roll with the punches.
To laugh about this stuff, and also I think that's why the communities and the groups like the UK Reseller group and stuff like that are important, because you can have a rant, you can vent a bit, other people feel your pain, and it helps that you're not on your own in this, because you can tear your hair out and add stress to yourself, can't you? So
yeah, and also it puts it in perspective, just chatting with somebody else about it and getting it out there. When I was doing this for years and years on my own, the littlest problem could get blown up because it's all you've got to focus on. And it's really hard to get out of that. The fact that I can ring you and say, Tom, this crap's going on, and you've been through the same thing, and you can put it in perspective for me. It really does help, and it's a huge benefit. There was a question I saw somewhere. Let's see. When selling as merchant fulfilled, if somebody from Europe buys an item, how do you charge the extra price for postage? I don't think my merchant fulfilled is Europe wide. Do you guys do merchant fulfilled Europe wide?
And every time I've sold something abroad, I always go, oh no, because it's like normally some really heavy book about German military history, which is going to Spain or worse, Italy. And then you're like, it's going to get lost. I just know. So it's something light, like a DVD or something, I don't tend to bother these days.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you switch that on or off, but I'm sure I don't merchant fulfill Europe-wide. I know I do through FBA, but...
Yeah, there's some setting in your thing, I can't remember, and you can pick and select which ones as well. I mean, I do the FBA obviously a lot, but I still haven't got a clue about a lot of it.
Oh, they make it so complicated where you find these settings and which page and which menu and which sub menu and which, it's like, oh, I just tear my hair out. I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
We're not anti-Amazon, folks. We're just having a day.
Yeah. But eBay's great.
Yeah.
Well, these are good enough reasons to make me think dabbling is fine with me. I'm happy to dabble here and there and leave it at a dabble level. Just dabble with it.
Lonnie has just messaged, I tried to send 10 board games into FBA last week. 3 of them were highly ranked, but I wasn't allowed to send them in. Didn't seem to be any method to the madness. Yeah. That's the other thing, restricted items. I don't know why random items are restricted. Couldn't tell you.
Also, sometimes you get a little note from they won't let you send it in. Basically, we've got enough of these. Not the little tick box that you can do. There's that as well when it's a high rank. But sometimes it literally says any of these, and they're not selling.
Oh, okay. I've not had that one yet. I get the one fairly often where it says, "Do you know this might take a while to sell, and we may charge you fees? Are you sure you want to send it to us?" That one, I get that a lot. And I just go, "Yeah." And they send me that message on something I have regularly sold month in, month out for the last year or so. Something I've got a lot of in stock that I regularly just restock. And they give me that message every time. It's like, I keep selling it every month. Why are you telling me this? Really weird. Their systems are a bit screwed. That's just, yeah, leave it there.
Peter Cummins has a question. He asked, if you think back to when you started reselling, how long was it before you kind of thought that you've got this, that you've nailed it, as it were? How long into your reselling journey?
That point yet, I don't think.
Yeah, I think it's difficult. I mean, I've only been doing this a couple of years, but I certainly don't think I've got this. I mean, there are times you do think like that when you get a big flip, like a big sale, then you think, yeah, you know, like but then that quickly passes when reality sets in. I don't feel like I've got this yet. I mean, what about you, Nick?
I don't know, because we've changed things so often. We kind of reset and restart again. It's like when we first quit our jobs and we did it for a year or two from home. I suppose 6 or 8 months in, when we were still managing to pay our rent, we thought this is okay. Then we set up the shop, the gaming shop, and then it was like a year later when we'd paid off all our debts and we were making money. Yeah, we've got this. And then we changed it again, then we changed it again. So I've never got to the point where, until recently, I guess, since we tried retail again, then got out, since we quit that shop, actually, until about now, I've only just started, you know, everything's fine again now. We've got money behind us and we're chugging along well. But yeah, it's very up and down, but we keep moving the goalposts for ourselves. So we don't really let things settle, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to you about this earlier, actually, wasn't I, Nick? That you never feel that you're doing enough. Sometimes it's easy to feel like you're not ever doing enough, even when you have worked hard and even when you have done a lot. I mean, like I was talking to you about, it's disappointing that we didn't have like a massive amount of stock, and it's easy to forget we've only just recently uprooted and moved and you know, had all that hassle, and you know, still getting, you know, still using a sat nav to find my way around. So it's not, you know, you have to take everything into account, and just like you said as well, it's like just, yeah, it's easy to just always be pushing. And
yeah, don't forget that, like I think I said to you, the amount of upheaval you guys went through last year, it's not surprising that you're running to catch up with yourselves, and you're trying to build it from scratch.
But that's not good enough excuse. You never see that as a good enough excuse. You still say, well, it's not good enough, and you just. But I suppose that can help drive you to get to where you want to be, I suppose. So
yeah, and I think you guys will see such a difference, hopefully, after this boot sale season. There'll be two of you out there sourcing. You know, you've got certain markets and niches that you're both comfortable in now, and you'll be out there every weekend boot sailing. So yeah, I think you'll see a big difference next year, hopefully, when you've got enough stock to see you through these months that can be tough.
Oh yeah, I mean the thing is because when your cost of buying inventory increases because you're mainly sourcing from charity shops or auctions, it does have an effect. Even though you're doing okay, it's the volume and the price that you can source at from boot fairs that makes them so, attractive.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well,
moving goalpost thing. I was just going to say that getting contentment in what you're doing is a dangerous thing. You've always got to kind of be on edge a little bit, otherwise you start slacking and you miss things and then get left behind.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's true. Always good to be a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think part of it with me is kind of boredom, and I've said this before. I get comfortable, or everything's going swimmingly. Hang on, let's change the whole.
Let's buy a van load of tap.
Yeah, exactly. I honestly don't know if I'll still be doing this from this garage in a year's time. It wouldn't surprise me if something completely radical's happened and we're off, I don't know, sheep herding in Alaska. That's not even a thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's just something in me and Andrea. We like to shake it up now and again. But I do feel really content right now, to be perfectly honest. Things are going really well. We had our best week for ages, not pre-Christmas wise, but we had a really good out of Christmas week last week. We touched over 1,700 for 7 days, which for January, February was pretty good for us.
That's amazing, yeah.
So, yeah, and that's before Amazon as well. Although I've got to give them back 650 quid now. Nightmare. Anyway, we'll wrap this up, I think. It's now 7:20. I hope we touched on some of your questions, guys. Thanks for all your messages. If you enjoy our chats, please, as ever, let us know by giving us a thumbs up. We're at 39, I think. So if you enjoy what we get up to and enjoy listening, please give us a thumbs up. Thanks to Tom for dropping in. Sorry it was a mad rush for you to get back.
It's my fault. I'm just a muppet. Don't worry. It's just I thought we were doing it 7, so apologies to everybody if you missed this wonderful face. But yeah,
there's been a few comments about wanting the next episode of DHOTW.
Yeah, I've actually filmed one, so that's up and coming, and then I've also done the very first episode of what's brown and sticky but not a stick.
I think you should record a few episodes of these and sell them to Netflix as a box set.
Absolutely.
DHOTW box set.
Always remember, Tom is to blame for everything. You see, the blame gets pointed at me, but here's the guy that you really have to blame for all of this. Anyway, really appreciate you coming on. Great to chat to you. Thanks, Zahir, for being the co-host again.
Yep, no worries.
And we'll be back next Tuesday with more Tat Chat at 6 o'clock. Take it easy, guys.